Hey guys, Toxic here with Mission 1 of Belly of the Beast. This is the Tyranids Inquisition campaign based around Inquisitor Shae Vex and her last mission with Inquisitor Lincoln Stern. So as you can see, we are currently in a Hive ship. This is the main kind of Synapse Hive ship, the one that sends out all the basically the big Hive ship that sends out the commands there. Obviously there is other ones that can do that, but taking out this ship will greatly cripple the Tyranid invasion and possibly give Planet Cloven enough time to fight back. And that's kind of the mission. If you that's kind of the story. If you haven't checked out the story, definitely look at Storytime Part 1. And that'll tell you a little bit about what's going on. So I did my best here to get a Tyranid Hive ship, kind of the insides of it, with Vassal. I think it came out quite well. So we have these kind of like spawning mounds, I guess. What we're going to be doing is we're treating them as hills. However, they will have the same rule as the Tervagons, but they will produce Hormigons instead, and they will be able to assault the turn that they get spawned on. However, these mounds, we are playing that you can destroy them. They're going to have the same stat line as a artillery piece, basically, except they're only going to have one wound. Now, Tyranids do have first turn, so they're at least going to be spawning, at least each of them are going to be spawning at least once. The Tyranid army, we have the, the Harrowsphex, which is, it's the one Tyranid that has like the giant mouth that just can like shoot its tongue out, grab someone and eat it. It's going to be the Carnifex with Crushing Claws is the model we're using, as Vassal currently does not have that model. We have 3 squads of 20 Hormigons with Adrenal Glands and 2 Tervagons. Now this is 1,000 points, and then we have 2,000 points of Militarum Tempestus, as well as Inquisitor Stern and Inquisitor Vex, well, Apprentice Vex at this point. Now, the reason why we're doing this is the only force that the Imperial forces are going to get is these 2,000 points. Currently on the board is less than that. We do have 2 lots of reserves. We're actually going to be rolling. Well, they're not going to be rolling. They're going to be coming in second and third turn. But we have a set amount that are going to be coming in from reserves. Basically, this represents multiple ships coming and dropping off these troops. There's 105 Militarum Tempestus Scions, 100 of the regular ones, and 5 of the command squad. And then we have Inquisitor Stern and Apprentice Vex with their warband retinue, which is 3 Crusaders, 3 Acolytes with Flamers, and 3 Assassins. And then each squad is armed, each Militarum Tempestus squad is armed with a Voxcaster, Plasma Gun, and Flamer. And then we have 2 Plasma Guns, Voxcaster, Med Kit, or Medic, with the command squad there. In the middle, you'll see this kind of digestion kind of chamber. Basically, the way that the Tyranid player can use this is if he's within 2 inches of this, he can treat it as if he was embarking on a transport. What it will do is it will remove the Tyranid from the game, or Tyranid unit, and then the Tyranid player can then bring on from reserves, from the board edge, from their board edge, another unit of equal to the amount of points that was digested. Basically, the idea is that if that unit is not doing anything, if that unit's about to die, they can basically give up their biomass to the Hive ship, and he can create something new and send it into the battle. So I don't know how much that's going to come into effect, but we'll see what happens. I thought it would just be kind of a fun thing. If we use it, we use it. If we don't use it. The basic idea for this first mission is just for the Militarum Tempestus and the Inquisition to get as many of their forces off the board edge, as we are going to be doing 3 missions in this campaign, These are the only models that they're going to have, so what gets lost is lost, and we'll work that out later. We may round up or round down just so we can get full squads, but there you have it. So going to be very careful for the Allied forces. The Tyranids have no issue with reserves, as we are in a Hive ship, so we'll see what happens. Tyranids do have first turn, so we'll be back at the end of Tyranid turn 1. Alright, end of Tyranid's turn 1. The spawning mound, I don't know what we're going to be calling it, but that spawned, I believe, I can't remember the exact amount, I think it was 11, yeah, 11, and it is still spawning. It did not roll doubles, so those 11 Homogons charged into this group of Scions. They managed to do, with 30 attacks, they managed to do 7 wounds, but the Scion's armor managed to keep all but 1 alive. The second spawning mound managed to spawn a whopping, let's see here, that actually didn't spawn a lot. They spawned about 7. Those 7 then charged into the Inquisitor's warband. The flame is cutting the majority of them down, and then the Death Cult Assassins finishing the last remaining one off. The lot up here, the spawning mound up here, that also, rolled doubles, so it cannot spawn anymore. The one up here did not roll doubles, but it did spawn 10, so it's 10 free Homogons there. The Tervagon spawned 14 Termagants, but it did roll doubles. The other one spawned 6 without rolling doubles, and the rest of the Tyranids moved up. Actually, I think this guy did not move up, so we'll just do that quickly now. And it would have run, so. And he's right behind them. So yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Imperial forces, although they do have 2 ships with troops left to come in for reinforcements. But already the Tyranids are on them. They have a long way to go to the end of the board edge, so there may not be a lot of Imperial forces left to take them through to the end of to the next mission, since we do have 3 missions planned. Granted, they will change depending on how much forces are left over, as Inquisitor Stern will mix up his tactics if he does lose, depending on how much he loses here. But Imperial forces turn 1 coming up. Okay, so end of the Scions, or the Inquisition, turn 1. Pretty successful, I would say. The combat down here, again, not too much happens. The Homogons only did 1 wound that was saved, and then the Scions managed to kill 1. We're counting everything as being in Synapse range because, well, we're in a Hive ship, so they do have Fearless, so that just stays. The squad next to them fired the plasma gun into the spawning mound and did nothing, so then they all kind of panicked and started shooting their las guns into there, and they actually managed to get 3 wounds, and they needed 6s to hurt it, so they managed to close up that spawning mound, so now it's just treated as a hill and can no longer spawn. The sergeant, I guess the regiment leader or the company leader, I think he's called the Tempestus Prime or something, he issued the command. I forgot what the command was called. Let's see if I have it here. It is Suppression Doctrine sanctioned. Basically what it does is you can only fire a single shot with your hot shot weapons, but it gives it sniper, and I believe it also gives it pinning. Yeah, sniper and pinning. So that was pretty good. That was pretty insane, because now the hotshot las guns, instead of needing 6s to kill a Tervagon, needed 4s because of the sniper rule, and they actually managed to do 5 wounds, bringing it down to 1 wound. And then the Prime squad himself managed to finish it off with plasma guns, so taking down one of the Tervagons. The squad next to that managed to take down a fair chunk of Homogons running towards them. Unfortunately, the squad to the right of the Prime because they were ordered to take down the Tervagon, have kind of left themselves open to these Termagon attacks. Actually, we did forget to do the Psychic Backlash, so we'll have to do that. But we'll do that, and you can check that at the end of the Tyranid turn. This squad tried to fire up at these Homagons, only managed to kill one. The Inquisitor squad managed to flame a whole bunch of Homagons there, but then it did make it a little bit hard for them to charge, and they did fail their charge. So they are not looking to be in the best situation, but we'll see what happens. Tyranids, Tyranid turn 2 coming up. I'm hoping that they don't get stuck in combat, because then when the reinforcements arrive, it's going to be a little bit tough trying to shoot at Tyranids that are in combat with your own guys. So I'm hoping for some failed charges, but it's very difficult considering most of these Homagons do have fleet. So we'll see what happens. Tyranid turn 2 coming up. Okay, end of Tyranid's turn 2. No more spawning is now available to the Tyranids, as the last remaining spawning mound that was not taken care of by the what are they called, Scions rolled doubles. It did get about 11 more over here. There was a couple of failed charges. The Homagons on this side failed to make their charge on this squad here. Those more ridiculous saves and just terrible attacks from the Homagons from this combat down here. In fact, they're down to two Homagons. This squad managed to charge in after taking a few casualties in Overwatch. They dealt, it was like 6 wounds, and the Scions managed to make all their saves and actually kill a Homagon in return. These ones were attacked by the Termagons. They managed to make all their saves and kill a couple of the Termagons there. And then the platoon commander didn't get attacked, luckily. There was one squad here. Emphasis on was one squad there. He got charged, failed their saves, tried to run, and got just cut down by the Homagons. The Inquisitor squad got attacked by the Termagons, and a Tervagon managed to take out the Termagons, and then one Crusader died from the Tervagon. They did manage to deal 1 wound. The Inquisitors combined managed to deal 1 wound to the Tervagon. The Tyranids are taking some casualties, and without the spawning abilities, it will be a little bit slower for them to continue this fight, especially since there's still 2 more ships inbound full of Scions. However, they have managed to kill a Crusader, which is pretty huge. Any casualties from that warband will not come back, so anything from that squad is really huge. They've taken down 1 squad completely of Scions, so that's pretty big as well, considering that's they only have 105 men plus the warband and the Inquisitors. Now that's 10 down on that. So turn 2, Inquisition coming up next. Okay, turn 2, Inquisition forces. The reserves came in, 4 squads of Scions. The combat over here continued. There's 1 Homagon left. The commander tried to issue the same command, the suppression command, to make them have the sniper special rule. It passed, but it did only take 1 wound off the Hive Vex, and then the squad coming in from reserves managed to do another wound with the plasma gun. So that's down to 3 wounds. This squad killed a couple of Homagons. This squad managed to kill the remaining Tervagons, got out of combat. All the reserves here managed to wipe out this 1 squad. And in this combat, Inquisitor Stern attempted to give them the Force psychic power, which is basically instant death on your melee attacks, and he passed. He did suffer perils and took a wound, and then did not manage to wound the Tervagon. He did need a 6, him and Shae Vex, but they would have managed to instantly killed the Tervagon, they did fail. The Death Cult Assassins, however, did manage to finish off one of its wounds, and then another Crusader down. That is not good. If all the Crusaders are gone from that squad is basically very, very, very squishy. Those Crusaders are the bodyguards of the Inquisitors, so we'll see what happens. Tyranids turn 3 coming up. Okay, end of Tyranids turn 3. Things just got interesting. We have the Homagons here decided to give themselves over to the, what do we call it, digestive pool or whatever it's going to be called. So they have 65, the Tyranid player has 65 points to spend on reserves next turn. The the Horus Vex, and these 4 Homagons, I mean there was more when they charged in, but they came in, took out a squad here with the regeneration roll and the special rule for the Horus Vex. He managed to gain all his wounds back from that combat, and we still have an ongoing combat here. Actually, I think we may have forgotten this combat, and I know these ones failed the charge, so we actually have forgotten 2 combats, so we'll go back and we'll do those 2 combats, and we will be back after that. Okay, so back after those forgotten combats, the Scions managed to take out the last remaining Homagont, and then the Tervagon was slain by the force weapons from the Inquisitors. So not looking so great for the Tyranids. They have taken out, a couple of squads of Scions, which is definitely huge. They've taken out 2 Crusaders, which is also pretty huge. So yeah, we'll see what we got after Inquisitorial Forces turn 3. We got more reserves coming on. Okay, end of the Inquisition Forces turn 3. We have 2 Homagons left. Another 40 Scions arrived, and combined with the order from the platoon commander, or the Tempestus Prime, they gave him the suppression rule again, and managed to take out the Horus Vex. So, but we do have 2 more Homagons left, so it does mean that the Tyranid forces do still have their reinforcements left. So we'll see what happens at the end of Tyranid turn 4. Okay, end of Tyranids turn 4. We have a Biovore came onto the battlefield with the points that the Homagons allowed. You have about 15 to spare, as this thing only does cost 40 points. It fired one of its spore launches into the charging Scions and managed to take out 3. Still not looking good for the Tyranids, but we'll see how much damage that Biovore can do while the Scions cross the field. Scions turn 4. Okay, end of Inquisitorial Forces turn 4. Basically we just all ran up and getting prepared for another Spore Mine Bloodbombardment. So Tyranids turn 5 coming up. Okay, end of Tyranids turn 5. They tried to take out the Spore Mine launcher, tried to take out the closest squad. It scattered back and took out 1 Plasma Gunner. Inquisitorial Forces turn 5 coming up. Okay, so this is end of Inquisitorial Forces turn 5, and also Tyranids turn 6, as we didn't really do anything on the Inquisitorial Forces turn except for move forward. The Biovore has had some terrible luck hitting, only managing to take 1 out of this forward squad, and that's about it. But we will still keep going until that Biovore is dead, or until all the forces have moved across the board. There is no turn limit for this one. So we'll be back after Tyranids turn 7. Okay, so I lied. So we're back after the end of turn 6. And I also did lie about nothing happening on the Inquisitorial Forces turn 5. As you can see up in the corner, the Inquisitor's warband made it off the board. At the start of turn 6, we moved the one squad up here that was close enough, and then we decided just to do the shooting then, just to see if we could save some time, and it did work, as they did manage to take down the bio ball. So here you have it. That is mission 1 of Belly of the Beast campaign. We have probably about 25 to 30 Scions were killed, and 2 Crusaders. So, although it looks like Tyranids got completely squashed, they were 1,000 points down. The reason for that is because in the next missions, the Inquisitorial forces do not get reinforcements. This is all they have. The number will not go up. So that was kind of their first kind of boarding action. The Hive fleet was not really ready to, I guess, defend against it, as they struck so quickly, and managed to get a decent sized force onto the Hive Typhon's main Synapse ship. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Stay tuned for Storytime Part 2 coming up, where I'll discuss the next mission in the Belly of the Beast campaign. So, once again, I'm Toxic for Allies Index. Check out alliesindex.com for more geeky gaming goodness, and like always, have a good one.